Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jay Cohn.
And I'm Jeanelle Slade. Tonight, a new controversy for the Eastern Montana Catholic Diocese, this time between a Great Falls priest and the Billings Catholic school system.
The young outspoken priest who grew up and attended Billings Catholic schools posts statements online condemning the system for allowing what he calls a, quote, prominent homosexual couple to chair its largest fundraiser.
Now, that post drawing hundreds of comments, a majority critical of the priest, while some support his stance.
Father Ryan Erlenbush, who lives in Great Falls and is an alumni of the Billings Catholic schools, posted this. You know, a Catholic school system has lost its way when a prominent homosexual couple is advertised as the chairs for the annual fundraiser. Why would any Catholic, indeed any Christian, attend or donate to Mayfair 2018? What does a Catholic school have to do before people say enough and take their kids and their money elsewhere?
Q2's Dustin Clayman spoke with the Billings Catholic School Foundation this afternoon to bring us reaction. Dustin.
Good evening, Jay and Jeanelle. I'm told the foundation is focused on Mayfair, and that is Billings Catholic School's largest fundraiser. It's also backing the 6 event chair members. Foundation hopes the event will raise more than $500,000 for the more than 1,000 students who attend the schools. Already today, a number of donations have come in since the priest's post went viral and in spite of his comments.
All the money goes to the Billings Catholic schools. We've got a tremendous amount of support for our chairs, for Mayfair, for our schools. We are truly blessed. We've been able to accomplish a lot. We've got a brand new school and we've got donors who they trust what we're doing.
Hitter said the Billings Catholic schools are inclusive and are committed to providing a Catholic education to anyone. After numerous attempts, we have not heard back from the Roman Catholic Diocese of Great Falls Billings. If we do, we'll let you know. Mayfair is May 5th. Jay and Jeanelle.
All right, thanks, Dustin.
A coalition fighting against another so-called bathroom initiative today launched its effort to oppose it.
The Free and Fair Coalition says I-183 is targeted at Montana's transgender and non-binary community. The proposed ballot measure would require government entities to designate protected facilities such as locker rooms, changing rooms, restrooms, and shower rooms for use by members of only one sex.
The coalition says the initiative would prevent transgender and non-binary Montanans from participating in certain aspects of life in communities across the state. The movement is about more than just voting no, though, on this issue.
We also have such a bigger opportunity here to ensure that things like this don't happen again. And not only that, that when we're having these conversations in our communities, we're talking about gender identity protections.
Now, the cost to the state, if Initiative 183 passes, an estimated $550,000 that would be used to renovate government facilities. The initiative is sponsored by the Montana Family Foundation.
In other news tonight, the Lodgegrass man shot and killed by Bureau of Indian Affairs officer Sunday night is now officially identified. The Bighorn County coroner says 36-year-old Reuben Stewart died from the gunfire. Stewart's grandmother called police to remove him from her home because he was intoxicated. The Lodgegrass mayor tells us when the officer arrived, Stewart moved outside armed with a knife. As Stewart stepped onto the porch, he was shot several times. A BIA spokeswoman tells Q2 the officer is on administrative leave but did not release his name. The FBI declined to comment.
2 men convicted of a 1994 murder and robbery have been ordered released from prison. Freddie Lawrence walked out of the Montana State Prison this afternoon. At his side, 2 attorneys with the Montana Innocence Project who helped secure his release. Lawrence has been in prison for more than 2 decades for the murder of Donna Marr and the robbery of the Jackson Creek Saloon south of Helena. Last Friday, a judge overturned that conviction, clearing the way for the release of Lawrence and his co-defendant, Paul Jenkins. MTN's Dennis Carlson has more tonight.
In a ruling issued last Friday, Judge Kathy Seeley said new DNA evidence casts significant doubt on whether a jury might convict Jenkins and Lawrence of the murder of Donna Marr and the robbery of the Jackson Creek Saloon. At a hearing in March, new evidence was presented showing that there was no DNA at the scene matching either Jenkins or Lawrence. However, DNA did match that of David Nelson. Nelson, a known criminal with a history of violent kidnappings and robberies, is currently serving prison time for a double homicide in Deer Lodge. According to Judge Seeley's order, both Jenkins and Lawrence are to be released on their own recognizance, with Lawrence set for immediate release and placed in the custody of the Montana Innocence Project. He's to live in Missoula in housing arranged by the Innocence Project. The state is ordered to give 24 hours notice before it releases Paul Jenkins from the Lewistown Infirmary to arrange for the transportation of his wheelchair and prosthetics. Jenkins, who suffers from severe diabetes, is to remain in Montana and live with his daughter. As for whether or not both defendants will face another trial, in a statement released Tuesday, the Department of Justice says no decision has been made in the case. In Helena, Dennis Carlson, MTN News.
And Dennis tells us late this afternoon that he learned that Paul Jenkins' family is on their way to the Lewistown Infirmary to pick him up and to take him home. Both men have been ordered to avoid alcohol and drugs and have no contact with any victims or witnesses connected to this case, and they are to make all future court appearances.
Last night, Q2 Scott Breen took us to the set of NCIS, the nation's and world's #1 rated television drama. Now, Scott's friend writes for the show, and his latest episode airs a little over an hour from now right here on Q2.
And we're very excited tonight. Scott takes us back on location for a little sneak peek to show us why tonight's show is so unique.
So the plot of the 350th episode is we have a witness to a crime, and that witness happens to be blind.
Now you may ask yourself, how does a blind individual can be a key witness to one of our cases? Well, our actress officially becomes an ear witness.
The title is Sight Unseen. Feely started writing this episode 3 months ago. Then last month took 10 days to shoot it. Here's why it was additionally challenging.
One of the ideas that we had early on was, wouldn't this be really interesting if we could actually cast a real blind person to play a blind character?
What a lot of people might overlook is Marilee's challenge of moving through sets without bumping into boom microphones, tables, or other props. So here's what she did.
I wrote up a cheat sheet of about, 20 different things that was just all the facts about my vision and how it might apply to set. I prefer dark over lights. I might need a guide in certain areas. If you give me direction and there's lights up, I'm going to listen to you rather than look at you.
Feely says he spent countless hours researching to add credibility to Marilee's character. One of the most valuable resources turned out to be a YouTube channel created by the blind.
I got the best compliment ever when I met her for the very first time. She sat me down and she said,
I think the first thing I said to Brendan was, you have blind friends.
Who's your blind friend? I know you must have a blind friend. And I said, I don't. And she said, well, you've really nailed this character.
He really shaped the character in a way that it's a person that I would know.
In this episode, the crime she witnesses involves a sheriff's car plunging into the lake.
Our agents initially discount her because there are other sighted witnesses to the crime.
She makes me understand in her own most clever way how she came about this.
Did you see what he looked like?
I have no idea. I'm blind, Agent Torres.
I'm sorry.
Why?
No, I just didn't. Wait, why did you try to jump in the lake?
To try to save someone's life. Blind people can't swim,
Of course.
We can cut our own meat and feed ourselves, too.
Okay.
We realized that what she heard is actually a little bit more important than what other witnesses saw.
And in that process, Torres not only humbles himself, but learns to appreciate, the unique skill that she has developed.
And there's a moment there where I need to ask for help, which is completely legitimate. It's by necessity, and he has to help me, but he has to learn how to help me. So we have this wonderful interaction of teaching, an educational moment, and then we get to why we're there.
And here's why she was thrilled with the role.
You just don't see these characters on television, and you certainly don't see them being played by actually blind, low-vision actors.
This is Marilee's first appearance on NCIS, but as a longtime fan of the show, that made it a little more daunting. Just listen to her first contact with lead actor Mark Harmon.
I actually got very tongue-tied, and he was so generous, and he just hugged me and said he was so happy I was here. And after that, it was feeling like I was part of a family already, even though I was only going to be here for a few days.
And Scott joins us now. Scott, what a great story, all of these. What surprised you the most about being down there?
You know what? Without a doubt, the amount of time and detail spent on a single episode behind the scenes. Again, Brendan started writing this thing in mid-January. It's a 40-minute, 42-minute episode that airs tonight. So that's 3 months worth of work put into, and behind the scenes and casting and that sort of stuff, put into just one episode.
Whole new appreciation. Okay, so NCIS is so popular. This is the 15th season. How much longer is this show going to be on?
I could tell you, but then I'd have to. No, I'm kidding. Bottom line is, yeah, they're in their 15th season now, but they have signed on for at least one more season. Mark Harmon says he'll do another one. But I have the feeling that it's basically year to year at this point.
And do you know how tonight's episode ends?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a great one. Yeah, when I was out there, he let me read the script for a little while. I kind of hung out, and he goes, here's the script. Take a look at it. So I did, front to back. And there are some intriguing points. There's a couple of shout-outs to us in the Billings area.
Really?
Tonight's episode takes place in Breen County, Virginia, for starters. How cool is that? And then a petty officer that may or may not survive is named Thomas Billings. So that's his shout out. And again, Brendan used to be a reporter here with us, worked news back in the early 2000s with us. And so it's kind of his shout out and thank you to the folks that took such great care of him here.
That's great.
Great story.
I'm headed back tonight afterwards. I'm going to go do the next episode.
Don't miss the episode tonight.
It's coming up. Yeah, coming up a little over an hour from now here on Q2.
Thanks so much, Scott.
All right, up next on tonight's 5:30 News, lace up the sneakers. Time's running out to sign up for the Montana Women's Run. All of those details coming up.
And later in sports, we meet the new home run queen, breaking records on MSUB's Diamond.
And coming up in weather, we had 0.08 of an inch of rainfall last night, but the snow just slipped by us. How close did it get? Very close. We'll show it to you coming up.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.